there ongoing negotiations happening at the moment between the players and Premier Padel, or it's not good?
It's not good. The situation at the moment is not good.
We have our first professional paddle player on the podcast. We have Medina Murphy.
I'm from the UK. I born in Kingston in London. But I moved to Spain when I was like 2 months old. That's why I don't have British accent. I'm really competitive. All the people that know me, I'm really competitive. I played my first professional tournament, World Padel Tour. You remember that tour?
Of course.
I was 17, nearly 18, and now training full time.
You're recently 104 in the world. That's outstanding. And what are your kind of aspirations?
I train like 4 or 5 hours per day.
Wow.
Between court and gym and all the sessions. But yeah, the sport is changing now. It's quicker. You need to be...
It's more aggressive, right?
Yeah, more aggressive.
Obviously, there's been quite a lot of changes in the last few years. How do you see, I guess, the pro circuits evolving? And I guess, what's your feelings around the Premier Padel and how's it going?
At the beginning of this year was a little bit strange situation.
Welcome to the Padel Directory Podcast. I'm Toby Bawden and I'll be your interviewer for the TPD Podcast. We're going to have guests on from all walks of life within the paddle space, whether that be high-class coaches, national governing bodies or general influencers, as we all look to navigate this amazing sport in the UK. We can't wait for you to tune in.
So, welcome back to the TPD Podcast, the Padel Directory Podcast, talking all things paddle in the UK. I am so excited today because we have our first professional paddle player on the podcast. Now, apologies for all the future guests, but this guy's unreal. We have Medina Murphy. Thank you so much for coming on. UK's highest ranked player, current world ranking 104. So we're talking serious level. Christian, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks to you. Thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk paddle. And firstly, obviously, we're here right now in Bristol. So your homecoming, let's say, it's the highest, I think, graded professional event that's been in the UK. A nice prize pot. R3 sponsoring the event. Let's talk about that. How are you finding this weekend so far? And what do you think your chances are?
Well, I think we have chances to do good in this tournament. Now we are seed number 1 because the seed number 1, Diestro and how was the guy? And Agustin, they pull out of the tournament. But we are so tight, we are few pairs really tight, and obviously in this condition in Padel you can lose all the matches and you can win all the matches too. Let's see how it's going. And for me, it's completely a pleasure to be here. Always is really nice to come here to the UK. The last one we won in London, in Stratford, and this one is a little bit higher. It's a silver, and it's really nice to be here because R3, my sponsor, is the organizer of the event, and for me that is amazing.
Yeah, I think it's, obviously we're in the qualifying stage at the moment, and the level is super strong, and it's really, really good to see lots of people coming down and watching. And I think that's we really want to start raising the profile in the UK, and this is what we need: more professional events like this, and higher ranking and more prize money. So that's great. So let's talk about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're based currently, how did you get into the sport, and we're just going to kind of have a story of Medina Murphy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, obviously I'm from the UK. I born in Kingston in London, but I moved to Spain when I was like 2 months old. That's why I don't have British accent. My dad is from the south of Spain, from Cadiz. I live all my life there. And my mom is from Manchester. All my mom family are from there, from Chorley.
Oh, nice.
And that's it. I started playing paddle when I was 14 years old. I moved from another sport. I play a bit of tennis and triathlon and athleticism at really high level for that age. And that's just basically more or less my story.
Amazing. Okay, so you were not actually, because I was going to ask you that. So you're not a tennis player by trade that switched across. You were saying you're more triathlon and athletics. Okay.
Yeah, I started with athleticism when I was 3 years old. I started tennis when I was 10, I think. I play a bit of tennis. I compete, but not like a high level trying to be professional. and I do triathlon too, and then I start to play paddle.
And what was the reason? Obviously, we all know, well, most people know that, you know, Spain is kind of like the mecca for paddle. It has the most courts, things like this. But what was the catalyst for you entering into the sport at 14? What was that?
Because in Spain it's really typical to have courts in the, I don't know how you say, the urbanization, when you have a lot of houses.
Yeah.
And I was living in Cadiz with 2 paddle courts close in my urbanization, and I start play there with my friends, and we think about it to play a tournament. Then you find really funny to play. You really like it, and you play another one. And
Well, okay, so it was just chance playing at your local courts in your area, your urbanisation, as you say, and you started playing. That's great. And then, was it quite quickly that you realised you had a bit of an appetite for it, or what was the next? Because you mentioned obviously that's 14. How old are you now?
26.
26. Okay, so it's not super long career so far from playing paddle. So what was? Yeah, how did you then, I guess, progress on from just playing with your friends in the local courts?
Yeah, obviously it's a little bit easier when you come from tennis. You don't need to be a ex-tennis professional player, but if you play tennis before, obviously you know the shots, you know the timing, you know how to slice the ball and all these kind of things. And then if you are a sport person, it's going to be easier to progress. And I'm really competitive. All the people they know me, they know I'm really competitive. And
I guess maybe that was from the athletic side as well. You mentioned you were competing. Were you competing at a
level,
really high level?
High level, and I was trying to play padel, and then I thought, man, I like this. I can train more, and I was pushing from 14 to 17. Then I played my first professional tournament, the World Padel Tour. You remember that tour?
Of course.
With 17, nearly 18, and now training full time. So,
amazing. And where are you based now? Still in Cadiz or?
No, I moved to Alicante. I moved to Murcia, close to Alicante, to study there in the university. I studied there science of sports science.
Oh, amazing.
I had my degree like when I was 22, 23, more or less. And the good thing is I was training in Alicante. It's like 1 hour by car. Was with a really good group. Jordi Munoz, the coach, with a lot of players. Victor Ruiz, Sanjo, like really good group. Yeah. And I thought was really good base to try to stay there for a few years and push a little bit harder.
Amazing. And you know, you recently 104 in the world. That's outstanding. And what are your kind of aspirations? Where do you see yourself in 12 months? What's your kind of your big hope and goals, I suppose, for your next 12 months in play?
Well, I think we feel like in between the 100 and the 60 on the wall, we are really tight. It's about consistent during the year, about try to play good in all the context with quick court, slow court,
small outside margins, right?
Yeah, it's really close, and I think we can go up to 60, 50 maybe in the few coming years. I don't know exactly what is going to be my top. Yeah. But for sure, I think I can still.
You're still young, right? As well, like 26 for a paddle player, like. You know, there are players that have played well into their 40s on the professional circuit, right? Yeah. So it's like, I think it's a sport that you'll grow into, right? So that's exciting to hear.
Yeah, I think 26 is good age to be in my position. It's not really high, but it's in good position, I think. And obviously, paddle you can play now. I think it's going to be changing that. Like it's going to be harder to still playing at 4 years, because obviously now it's really professional sport and it's coming a lot of countries and trying to push harder.
It's changing a lot, right? You know, I've been in it for nearly 10 years, and I followed the professional circuit a little bit when World Padel Tour and now Premier Padel, but everything is changing. Yeah, it's become a very different game. I think you mentioned obviously how competitive and how serious your training is. Yeah. I mean, how often are you training kind of per week?
I train like 4 or 5 hours per day. Wow. Between court and gym and all the sessions. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. But yeah, the sport is changing now. It's quicker. You need to be.
It's more aggressive, right?
Yeah, more aggressive. It's like you have to train. Like It's no point to you don't have.
You can't just have good hands.
No, and that was fine 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That was fine to survive maybe in the first rounds of the professional circuit, but now you have to train, and it's not about the game is changing. It's more people playing. Like now it's more countries, more people trying to be there. It's more money on the table. All the people want to earn their positions on the tour, and that make tougher and tougher. And let's see, but 26 still good age.
Yeah. Well, that's
10 more years, I think, to 35, 36.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking a little bit before you came on. Like your week to week is kind of crazy. Like talk about the next few weeks where you're traveling to. Like it's
it's crazy. Well, we come from the South America tour. We play in Cancun, the P2. We play in Chile, the P1. We play in Puebla, another city of Mexico, the FIP Platinum. And now we're gonna play here, and the next week
Bristol,
in Bristol,
yeah.
UK. And then we're gonna go to Kuala Lumpur in Asia, and then we're gonna go to China in the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
Crazy.
So a lot of traveling. And how do you find that? Like, do you find the traveling, you enjoy it? Is it stressful? I mean, is it nice? Also, the other thing, do you always play with the same partner, or do you have different partners?
Yeah, now I'm playing with the same partner. That is really lucky, because in Padel it's not easy to have a project with the same guy, with the same goals and all the stuff. And we live in Alicante both. We train together. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was playing the last maybe 7-8 months together, and we're gonna keep playing together.
Do you think, because it's quite interesting, obviously we're talking the professional game, but a lot of our listeners and viewers, they're starting out paddle the first time, or maybe they're entering into competitions. Playing with the same partner, advantageous, right? It helps.
Yeah, helps. But you need to, in paddle, it's like all the paddle players, we say the same. It's like a normal relationship with your girlfriend. It's the same. You spend so many time with your partner, 24 hours per day, all the days traveling, with problems because sometimes you have bad results. Sometimes we lose because I play bad. Sometimes we lose because he play bad. It's like you have to manage all the problems during the tournaments, during the
ups and
downs.
That's a journey.
And when you have a little thing with your partner, you can see that bad things on court when you have a tough match, or when you go breakdown, all these things. And that is like the pro and the things they are not that good to be always with the same. But obviously, if you are professional, if you manage all that situations, I think it's the proper way to try to have proper goals during the season.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned you've been together 6 or 7 months. How else? Obviously, it's just you two. But how else is your kind of training and managed? Do you have coaches that travel with you, or physios, or how does it kind of look like for you and your partner as you travel around the world?
Yeah, we normally travel alone because it's too much cost. But when we are in Alicante, we try to train matches with our coach. Our coach see all the matches on the tour with the streaming, and
he's checking in with you always, as you're traveling. So he's almost full time with you, but maybe not in person.
That's it.
Yeah.
We speak with him in video call. He see matches of the people we are playing against, and it's like really professional. But we cannot. We are not tennis player, and we have that much margin in the prize money and all these things.
At what stage, I suppose, in professional terms, which level or which ranking would they start having the coaches travel with them?
That is good. Is good question. The difference between paddle and tennis is all the professional paddle players, they live all in Madrid.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they train a lot of pairs together. You have big academies like Diagonal, M3.
Yeah, of course.
And they have 2 or 3 coaches, and they go like a group.
Okay,
and you have one coach doing the coach on court to 6 pairs, because all that pairs are trained together, and that is easier because they split the cost of the coaches.
So actually, the coach goes to one tournament, but he's coaching 4 or 5 pairs. That makes sense.
In tennis, it's different because you go with your coach, and it's like you team, and that's it. In paddle, it's like a little bit different, but in long term, obviously, it's going to be like tennis for sure.
Yeah, and obviously there's been quite a lot of changes in the last few years with the pro circuit. It's obviously was World Padel Tour for a long time, and now is Premier Padel. How do you see, I guess, the pro circuits evolving? And I guess what's your feelings around the Premier Padel and how's it going as a tour?
Yeah, well, now at the beginning of this year was a little bit strange situation. Was
Sure.
Too much tension between the players, the association of the players with the tour, because it's like Padel is obviously it's a big company like Padel, like a sport, and Premier Padel, they are trying to put that company internationally in all the countries. But in some countries, it's not that easy because you don't have big market to put a big tournament, and that's why sometimes it's tough to go to South America countries, or if we go to Middle East with not too much people looking for that tournament. And
because there were some strange events. I remember tuning in and seeing some events where there was like no one watching.
That's it.
Whereas like when I used to travel to Spain and watch a World Padel Tour, it's fully
completely
booked and the crowd's going crazy, and
yeah.
that must have been quite strange for the players. So is that kind of where some of it stemmed from, the frustration?
Yeah, it's like when you, if I'm the promoter, makes sense? When I'm doing the tournament and I cannot sell all the tickets and I don't have that big budget for the tournaments, I cannot...
Puts pressure over.
Yeah, that's it. I cannot put the best hotels, I cannot put the best venue, I cannot put the best food on and that for the players, not for me because I'm not the number one, but
not yet.
But for the top players, sometimes that is not really good to be in this situation. And I think the FIP, the federation, the international federation, has to improve. Like the organization of the FIP at the moment is completely a disaster. They change rules at the last moment.
It feels like that from outside looking in. I'm not a professional,
yeah.
but I love the sport,
and
it feels confusing, right? Because everything's changing. You obviously had the big thing in Gijón as well, right? Where you know the players didn't play, and but it meant that you got to do some well in some tournaments, right?
In Cancun,
in Cancun.
The to put you an example is like I was playing with Albertito to try to be in the top 77 person in the world at the end of the last year, because that maybe you can play all the P1s guarantees, and we get it. We end the year around the top 63 more or less, and
They took it away.
That's it. At the end of the year, 1 or 2 weeks before the first tournament, the FIP told, no, we're going to change all the draws, we're going to change the point system, we're going to change the FIP tour system, and we was thinking, we are now in
and March. How much notice did they give you?
Yeah, it's just
no notice.
And we already played 3 tournaments that year, and it's like, we already started the season and now you're going to change all the rules of the tour. This is crazy. And obviously, when we do the change between World Padel Tour and Premier Padel, they guarantee to us some stuff like hotels to quali, like blah 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 blah, and they was changing that things.
And so that's why the frustration
the players decide we have to stop and sit down again and try to see where we're going to go, because this is not the...
I know there are ongoing negotiations happening at the moment between the players and Premier Padel, or it's not good?
It's not good. The situation at the moment is not good because the Premier Padel and the FIP, they go together. They are like, at the beginning there was 3 different things, FIP, Premier Padel and the Association of the Players.
Yeah.
But now the FIP and Premier Padel, they are working together and like they are really good friends, and they get so angry about the situation of the players, and they say, okay, you decide to don't play. And now the negotiations are completely stopped. The situation is completely blocked. And let's see how it's going in the coming months.
Well, fingers crossed, you know, there can be some arrangements made, because ultimately we all want to see paddle played on the world stage, and we want to see it advertised and televised and all this. And it sounds like a very frustrating 12 months within the sport and some. So fingers crossed they can do that. But that's amazing. So what we're going to do is take a little break now, and then we'll come back. And really what I want to talk to you about is the UK paddle scene, representing Great Britain and everything else in between. Thanks.
The Padel Directory is for anyone that wants to find out more about paddle in the UK. It's a space for coaches, players, businesses, and anyone that wants to pick up a racket for the first time. Check out the website below.
So welcome back, listeners and viewers. What an interesting first half of the podcast. It's certainly an area of the sport which, you know, is growing, the professional game, and we've talked about the struggles and the FIP and the Premier Padel. But I really want to just delve back into some of your recent results and the journey you've been on. So we were talking before, Chile. Talk to me what happened in Chile. That must have been a pretty special moment. If you want to talk about how the tournament went for you and some of the players you played against, because pretty big.
Yeah, it was really good tournament. I think it's my best result at the moment. It was second round of main draw of a P1, and we go through the quali after win 2 matches, and we beat a really tough pair, Fran and Arnaldos, Fran Ramirez and Arnaldos.
And where do they sit world ranking wise?
Fran Ramirez is like 80 on the wall.
Amazing.
And Arnaldos is like 92, something like that. And we beat them 6-3, 6-4, and we play against the seed number 5 of the wall, Garrido and Dineno. Like, was really good experience, and it's like the perfect match to see how they play that matches, the difference between them and us, what you need to improve, all this kind of thing.
How was the step up? Did it feel noticeably? I know it's an obvious thing to say, but was it like?
It's like the good thing in padel is like if was in another sport, is more different between 100 on the wall to the number 5. In padel, it's like you can play, you can compete, but you can see the difference in the game. They are, for me, the big difference between the best on the wall and me, or the people in my ranking, is like they obviously they have 1 or 2 amazing shots. Garrido has the smash is like crazy.
Yeah.
And Dineno has really good volley and is really consistent. It's like they have 1 or 2 really good things, but the difference between them and the rest is they always go to the correct decisions in the important moments.
Yeah.
You are 4-all and they do exactly what they have to do in that moment.
In the big moments, they shine through.
Yeah, it's like they have good confidence in that moments, and they know, like, because sometimes when you are playing padel, you have to do so many different stuff. Yeah, like imagine if you are playing to Garrido, you have to try to make him think you're gonna do a lob and then play down and go forward. Or you have so many different stuff to try.
Yeah.
But it's like in the 4-year-olds, he can know before you what you're gonna do, and boom, he closed the nail. These kind of things, because finally they are better. They are 5 on the wall. They have amazing level. And that's,
but you competed, right? The score was, you know, it was tight.
Yeah, it was 6-3, 6-4. We have chances to be on the game. But yeah, it's like little difference make big difference. It's like
small margins, right? It sounds like percentages. And that's really interesting to kind of hear about that. And hopefully, you know, as you see the season progressing, hopefully you can get into some more of those matches.
Yeah.
So the next few weeks are obviously mostly FIPS. Will you play any more Premier Padel? Like, what's the sort of the rest of the schedule looking like for the year?
Yeah, now is the major in Doha, but we decided to be here in the UK because this was really good event to come.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next Premier Padel, the next big one, the major is the next one in Rome, in Italy, and
nice.
We're gonna be there, and we maybe gonna play one P1 before, maybe in Argentina, or I think in Malaga is another one.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the schedule, but yeah, we're gonna play between FIP tournaments and Premier Padel, few of them.
Go between the two. And,
That's it.
And how does the so for someone that isn't sure, then it's watching or listening, how does like the ranking system? I know we've talked about it maybe not being perfect, but how does the ranking system work for you guys in terms of level of points, things like that? It'd be quite interesting, I think, for our listeners to understand.
The system is quite similar to tennis system. I don't know if the people that are hearing this can put something in their mind, but it's like you have the points of the last 365 days.
Okay, so it's rolling.
That's it. You defend the points you earn in the same week the last year.
Yeah.
And you have you can play all the tournaments you want, but you have only on the ranking the best 22.
Okay.
on the last year.
Yeah.
You have that average. I don't know. if
Yeah,
that
so you
works makes
take
sense.
your 22 best results
In
over
the last year.
over 365 days, and you defend those points
That's
as you go.
it.
So when you win Bristol this weekend,
I defend Bristol the next year.
yeah.
That 80 points. If you win this one, you have 80
I was going to
points.
say there's
Yeah.
different weights of points, right?
That's
so
it.
gold, silver, bronze, and obviously the P1s.
Yeah.
And as you go,
Yeah,
up, right?
it's-
So
Yeah, it's for more or less. It's like always is the double points, more or less. You have fifth bronze, 40 points, fifth silver, 80. After that, fifth gold, you have 150, I think. Platinum, 300 or 350, more or less. P2, 600, P1, 1000, and major, 2000, more or less, for the winners.
and to date, you mentioned obviously your best result, but what's been your proudest moment or your best moment on a paddle court?
I think I have few of them. One
Okay.
of them, when I was junior, was becoming third on the world with the GB team in Mexico. That was great. After Spain and Argentina, we get the bronze medal, and was really really good moment. After that, in the last year, maybe I get the one in London in the FIP of Stratford, because we won, and my mom family was watching
Oh, nice.
the tournament here all the weekend. My sister, Jonathan, the R3 team, they was there, and Steve from the LCA, Tom. Yeah, it was really good.
It was a nice,
Yeah,
nice moment.
Really nice.
And how do you, obviously, having grown up, you mentioned obviously being born in London, but having grown up in Spain, how have you sort of seen the development of paddle in the UK in the last,
Yeah.
last 5-6 years, but really the last year?
Yeah,
It's
last
gone
year.
crazy, right?
Yeah.
So what are your feelings? It must be super nice
Yeah,
to now actually come back and play in events like this.
Yeah, that's it. I started playing with the GB team when I was 17, and was the situation in the UK paddle was completely stopped. Like,
Yeah.
there was maybe, I don't know, 7 clubs in all the countries.
Mm-hmm.
And today I was speaking with Tom Murray from the LCA, and he told me the last year in the UK was 350 courts, and now in less than 1 year is around 80, 50 or 80, 70 courts. Like, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's going nuts. Like you say, 850, 870 courts at the moment where we are. Who knows in 3-4 months?
Yeah.
Like there might be another 300-400 courts.
Yeah,
It's
yes.
moving that
Really
quickly.
fast, really fast.
And I guess for you, it means you get to come back more, right?
Yeah, that's it. We can do more events. We can try to do more stuff to promote the sport. We can do more professional tournaments, and it's going to be really nice to see how the sport is going here. Like, it's going to be fantastic.
If you had some advice for somebody that's new to the game and has never played paddle before, what would the 3 bits of advice that you would give to someone?
Good one. I think the best advice at the beginning is you have to control the ball. It's not about power at the beginning. All the people jump to the court and try to hit the fast as they can and they lose completely the control. I think first is control the ball.
Like that.
First one. Second one, body control.
Okay.
That is really important. When you hit the ball, you have to try to be really stable. If your body is moving when you hit the ball, you're going to lose the control. The point 1 and the point 2 are similar, but
but they link,
really,
right?
Yeah, it's really important. Control with the ball, body control, and be solid. I think when you start, you have to try to be solid, no mistakes, and then consistency. You when you are consistency, you start to understand how the sport works, the tactic, and I think that is the nicer thing on paddle.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned sort of the tactics. How important are tactics in paddle?
Yeah. It's nearly, in the professional level, is 70-80% of the results is about that. Because
and do you find that a lot of it is also just the patterns of play and then having to change those patterns depending on who you're playing against?
Yeah, I always put the same example. Speaking with another UK player, he told me, because always they say I have really good tactics during the games and during the tournaments, and always he asked me, but what is best, cross court lobs or lobs down the line? And I always say the same. Padel is like philosophy. All the question, the answer is another question. Like, lob cross depends. Who are you playing against? Is fast court? Is indoor? Is outdoor? Bull paddle balls, head, whatever.
Yeah, so many
stuff.
factors that then mean that you have to change certain things. Like you say, you can have a set way, and I think that's what you see, right? Often you see quite interesting results across paddle where you have like 6 love one set, then love 6 the next, because there's a change of tactic and suddenly they realise, and it's quite makes for really interesting viewing and watching. But it's fascinating to hear you talk kind of about the game and the philosophy. I like that of paddle.
Is that because it's so many stuff to think. In tennis is easier, the tactic, because it's like when I play tennis always with my coach told me you have to play fast to the lines, and that's it. No, it's like it's basic, but it is what it is. With the quality of the shot, obviously, if you are playing with a guy, they're playing backhand with one hand, you can try to play with spin to play high backhand.
Yeah.
But it's simple because you have big court, many spaces.
Well, you're building to finish, right? And it's almost like that momentum goes only one way and ends. Whereas paddle, the momentum shifts.
Yeah, that's it.
Throughout one point, can chop and change so much, so you have to be constantly thinking.
And basically, the court is smaller. It's 2 against 2. You don't have too much spaces, and you have to win the ball. It's like you have to, first of all, you have to make a space, moving the players, make the space, put in the ball.
Sometimes people talk about it like almost being like chess.
Yeah,
do you feel that? Like,
yeah, when you play in a professional level, it's like you are moving your opponents to make a space, to put there, to win the net. After that, try to play to his worst shot to generate an easy ball, and then
control that space, control the time,
close the net and he's gonna try to do fast lob here, because here you don't have this one
over your left shoulder.
It's like so many stuff you have to think, and I think that is the good point on paddle, because when you are improving your game, you see how many different things you can still learning.
Well, I think that's what is the beautiful thing about the sport that we're involved in, which is it's super easy to pick up, but impossible to master, right?
Yeah,
and it's just continually developing and changing, and the evolution of the sport is fascinating. You touched on it earlier. You mentioned fast court, slow court. What does that mean to players maybe that are not so familiar with the different styles?
Yeah, basically in the fast court, we say fast court when it's quite easy to win smashes.
Yeah.
And slow court when you have to build more the points and you can try to win the points in other ways. But you have fast courts when it's easy to win volleys too, when the court is sleepy.
Yeah, and it doesn't come up as much. And
it's like 2 different of fast courts. Sometimes when it's a little bit sleepy, the grass is not that fast for the smash.
Yeah.
And
what court do you prefer? What do you like? What suits your game? We actually haven't talked about your game. What's your style of play?
I always try to be solid. I don't have too many mistakes during the game, and I really try to control the matches like chess.
Piece by piece. Build.
I don't have amazing shots. I have my shots. My pivot I think is really good. My bajada, my defense is good, but I play more to control the game and don't miss and go to my rhythm of the game.
And who out of you and your partner, who's the more aggressive player?
Yeah, I think we are quite similar, but that is strange because I play on the backhand. Normally the backhand is 2 steps in front on the forehand playing aggressive stuff, but I play more or less really similar to my partner. And both we like to control the game, play really good tactic, manage all the spaces.
Not many 3 points there.
Yeah,
that's it. Mistakes. Just keep it solid. And sorry to talk about that. So do you prefer a fast court or a slower court?
Depends.
Or it depends on the moment, right? The question leads to a question.
No, the moment depends of who I play
against. Of course.
Against some players, I prefer to play fast court. But if I play against another players, I prefer to play in slow court. But normally, I play good in normal courts. No fast, no slow.
And indoors, outdoors? What do you prefer?
I prefer indoors. I prefer indoors.
It's a debate in the UK with our lovely weather, indoors versus outdoors.
Yeah.
But I think the more and more you see and read, the professional players prefer indoors, right?
Yeah, always,
Yeah, because no wind, no sun.
That's it. It's because we have to play with not too much margin. If you play against Garrido and you need to put the lob maximum 50 centimeters close to the glass, with windy, you do the lob and you never know sometimes.
Yeah. Would you say, and I've heard other podcasts, would you say would you like to see the professional circuit only indoors?
I don't know if only indoor, but 80-20 I think is good. But now the problem is when you play the big tournaments, it's like 80% outdoor and 20% indoor, because they try to use tennis venues.
Yeah.
And normally they all are outdoor. Like we play in Roland Garros, we play in Rome in the Master Mill.
Exactly. It's big tennis venues with.
You
like
go to the tournament, you see the venue and you say, "Wow, this is so nice." But when you are gonna play, it's like,
You're like, no.
I prefer indoor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good. And so obviously you're super lucky to have you here today and playing in Bristol. You mentioned any more tournaments coming up this year in the UK?
Well, we're going to try to follow all the R3 Bull Padel Cup.
Brilliant.
Because I think R3 is doing a really nice job here in the
supporting
UK.
Lots of players,
supporting all the players, supporting me. Without them, I don't know if I can do all these tournaments, all the tour, and it's really important to do it. And I think they are helping a lot to the players, and they are doing a lot of events.
Well, it's raising the profile as well, right? Like, to come, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the prize pot is 18,000 euros for this event. And it means we get better players in the UK, and it's we're in the qualies today, and with lots of people watching. It's so good. It's
so good. Basically, they are promoting the sport really good, and I think when you want to try to see more people playing, you need these big companies trying to help the sport grow, and I think we have really lucky to have R3 involved in the UK.
I think it's good, right? I think there's people play in the UK and they think it's just this, and then we have all the guys and girls coming over from Spain, Sweden, Holland, wherever it be, and then they get to see the level.
Nice.
And it's great. Christian, this has been great fun. Thank you so much for coming on today, and good luck in the event. I'm sure when people listen and tune in, he will have won this event. He will have won in Guatemala. He might have won in China, and we're going to follow him really closely. And we're super proud in the UK to have yourself flying the flag for us, and keep up the great work, man.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation to be here. It's a pleasure. I want to say thanks, obviously, to R3, my sponsor, to the LTA, because he's supporting me, and a lot of players too. They are trying to build the sport here in the UK. I want to say thanks to all the people that are trying, like you and all these guys that are working with the sport. And yeah, it's a pleasure, and I hope we can do more in the future.
Thanks, man. Great stuff.
Thank you for joining us at the TPD Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. If you don't already know, the Padel Directory is the home of all things Padel in the UK. Whether you're an industry leader or a first-time player, there's something for you on the platform.
Please join us for the next episode and check out padeldirectory.co.uk today.